Hello, and welcome to this Target Marketing webinar, Maximizing Customer Data, 3 Questions You Should Be Asking Yourself, sponsored by Melissa Data. I'm Thornton McGee, Editor-in-Chief of Target Marketing and the host of today's event. Every marketer collects data, and the best marketers are able to use that data to increase the return on marketing investment. Campaign after campaign, year after year, marketers who know how to nurture and leverage their data see higher results than those who don't. So what do you need to know to be one of those marketers who's consistently increasing ROI? Today we're going to hear from Joseph Vertito, Data Quality Analyst at Melissa Data, on the 3 most important things you need to know to make your data the most effective marketing tool it can be. Joseph is an expert at helping marketers leverage data and solving strategic and structural hurdles that sometimes keep them from doing that effectively. And I think his program will be a great help to anyone facing those challenges. Before we get started, please let me take just a second to point out the Tips for Attendees widget on your console. It's the blue one with the wrench on it. If you want more information about how to customize your viewing experience today, you can click that anytime. Please also note the email module on this console. If you have any questions for the speaker as you view this webinar, please submit them here and you'll be answered by email. And now, without further delay, Joseph, please go ahead.
Thank you, Torin, for the introductions. Again, my name is Joseph Vertito, Data Quality Analyst at Melissa Data, and today we are going to talk about how to maximize your contact data. And specifically for this presentation, we're going to talk about contact data and how to approach it from a data quality perspective in order to harness your data's power and potential and what you can actually do with it. So first, we're going to try and take a look at how data is, what the nature of data is, and try to get a better understanding of its behaviors. And then we're also going to take a look at what some of the requirements are in order to be able to consider our data as good and have quality data. And then we're also going to talk about how to unlock its potentials and be able to make use of it to its most potential. So first, I actually want to share with you what I call the law of data quality. Now, data by nature or by definition is defined as a collection of information, right? So as long as you're collecting all of this information from this is by definition what you call data. And this data that you collect, I mean, if it doesn't serve any purpose, then you can consider it as just a bunch of strings put together. It doesn't have any meaning. But because we're collecting all of this information, we most probably are going to be using it for a purpose later on, whether it's for some sort of business intelligence or analytics or whatnot, or to develop strategies in the future. All of this information that we're collecting is going to be used for some purpose later on. It's the second part of the law of data quality. Now, the third part of the law states that as long as you're required to do something with data, there will most likely be data quality issues. And I say this because really there's no information that's going to always be perfect, especially when it comes in from all of these different sources. You're automatically introducing all sorts of problems, and we'll kind of see this later on, and hopefully I can prove this law to you after we're done. So information, why is it that we're collecting information in the first place? Well, really it allows us to be able to for example, for contact data, build our customer base. It allows us to set up relationships with our clients. Aside from that, we're also able to analyze data and recognize different patterns and trends in the activities of our customers, and maybe do some better planning for the future and strategize a little bit better. And aside from that, we're also able to do some advertising and campaigns because of all this information that we're getting, and ultimately we are creating smarter investments and are able to manage our resources much better through data. So if we take a step back and kind of get a better understanding of how data comes in, typically their contact data comes from many different sources, whether you've got some CRM application or ERP system. People will be entering in their information one way or another, type point of entry, when they fill out a form, or maybe at a point of sale, or maybe even through a call center call, or maybe from a third-party lead. Whatever the case may be, you're collecting all of this data, all of these contact information, and what you end up doing with that is you end up putting it into a target system called a data warehouse. So this is where all of the information gets consolidated into. The problem with this type of model is that you automatically introduce all sorts of errors and problems. And this is because there will be keyboard misspellings or typos, for example, or people sending in fraudulent information, inconsistencies in formatting, and you also introduce machine errors like application problems, corruptions in the data, incorrect techniques for merging data into your data warehouse. All of these can and will almost always happen with your contact data. And so now I think the question really you should be asking yourself is, how clean is my data now? This is the golden question, if you will, because if we look at contact data and the elements associated with contact data, if you got your names, your phone numbers, your addresses, and your emails typically, you need to be asking yourself, are my names actually real names, real people's names? Are my phone numbers callable? Are my addresses mailable? Are my emails sendable? All of these, you've got to make sure that they're all valid, exclusive of each other, of course, and make sure that the data you have is good. And of course, if you don't have a valid address, then of course you're not going to be able to mail to that person. Or if you don't have a valid phone number, you will not be able to call that person either way, right? And after you've validated each point of data separately, you want to push that a step further by verifying the information as a whole, right? So not only do you want to verify whether the address is mailable, you actually want to understand and know whether or not that person actually owns that phone number or owns that email and actually lives at that address. And this is, again, pushing the boundaries of quality even further by knowing the relationships between these points of data. And then aside from that, one of the things I think that people commonly overlook when it comes to having good quality information is the merging, the consolidation, and the techniques that revolve around being able to consolidate data into one is called record linkage. So if, for example, you've got a record, a person's record, and you have his address, and you've got another record that has a person's phone number or email, but then they're both stored separately in different places. You want to be able to consolidate that. And just to kind of show you an example here, again, you've got a John Smith who lives at 123 Main Street in New York, and another John Smith at 123 Main Street in New York. Two records, both separate, but one has a phone number, the other one has an email. Really, what you want to be able to do is to merge that information, collapse it into a single record, and this is what we're going to call our golden record. And this is, again, a very overlooked concept when it comes to data quality, but nonetheless very important. And we'll understand why later on in the presentation when we look at some of the benefits here. So after we've done all of those validations and made sure that the data is good to begin with and clean, then you've got to ask yourself, do I have all the data that I actually need, right? So, for example, again, going back to contact data in each of these data points, what if I have a person's name, address, and email, but I don't actually have his phone number? This is considered a gap or a hole in your database, and you want to be able to, of course, address that missing information and fill it in with, in this case, the phone number. Is my data complete? Is my data updated, if you will? And this is, again, you've got to ask yourself the question, is all of my information up to date? And I think a lot of times people tend to also overlook the fact that data, especially contact data, changes all the time, right? People move to different addresses. People change their phone numbers. People stop using their old email addresses. And data, contact data specifically, becomes up to date over time. So if you're collecting data now, I assure you that 10 years from now, that data for your customer that you used to have isn't going to be the same. It's going to be garbage. So you want to make sure that data stays updated. And again, this involves things like changes of address, changes of phone numbers, emails, even zip code and area code splits. This happens when an area becomes too populated. They add new area codes, change the zip codes, and even email domain changes. In case you didn't know, if a company gets bought out or whatnot, like Melissa Data actually used to have 800-mail .com as its email, but now we've changed it to melissadata.com. So those are kind of changes we want to be able to update and make sure that our data is complete and up to date all the time. And then last, but of course certainly not the least, you also want to ask yourself the question, am I actually targeting the right customer with the right message? And again, this goes back to our law of data quality, which states that you're going to be using this information later on for something. So this is where we come to a point where we actually make use of data. And really, I think one of the first things you want to find out when you're working with customers with client data is that maybe you should get a better idea of the geolocations. For example, you want to know, what areas I cater to the most, what areas I need to improve on, just to kind of give you a better understanding of how customers are skewed in different locations. And this includes knowing things like, do property and land value have anything to do with it? Maybe, maybe not. Are most of them actually coming from businesses, or are they residence addresses? Are they from actual people or companies? Some of the things that can help you understand your clientele and how you would move forward from that. And then also IP location is typically also commonly used by websites, for example. A lot of times people want to filter out certain IP addresses to prevent, spamming or fraudulent activity. And this, in case you didn't know, it happens all the time to everyone. I mean, you've got people from other countries sending in all sorts of garbage and fraudulent information. So if you want to filter out some of those IPs, this is one of the things you can do. And this is one of the data points that you can actually append in your data in order to improve. And then also we come to a point where we have your phone numbers, you have your emails, you have your names, you have your addresses, you have your contact information, but the fact is you can do so much more with it, and this is where the concept of demographics comes in. This is where we're able to understand our clients even more, because from here we can actually figure out things like, are they married, or how much income does the household have, and does this person actually have children, are some of the useful things that you can make use of, because maybe you'd want to market more to a certain type of demographic. Included with this are things like, what is this person, is he are they a male or female? Again, is a very important point of information, I believe, when you're trying to market to a specific demographic. And what age group are they? Do I only want to target people who are below the age of 20, or maybe the age above 30 and whatnot? Are they a homeowner? Are they a renter? Again, very useful information for some people out there. How long have they resided in that residence? What's their occupation? And are they already deceased? Is my data still relevant or irrelevant? Are some of the things that really you want to be able to find out. And not only does this apply to individuals, but this also applies to companies. Firmographics, quote unquote, is what we like to call them, because you can actually get, if most of your clientele are from other companies, then you want to be able to know information like how many employees are actually working in that company, what are their sales volumes, what are their SIC or standard industrial classification code, what type of industry is it banking, is it government, is it mining industry, or whatnot. Again, helps you understand your client base even more. So I think to summarize all of these concepts when it comes to having quality data, I would say that data quality really allows you for creating a consolidated version of the truth that is correct, complete, and comprehensive. And this, for me, again, summarizes the concepts of data quality. This is what we want to achieve when we want to apply or achieve good quality data, right? So moving forward, we really want to be able to apply all of these data quality concepts in our own database, in our solutions. Now, right now we're storing all of your data in some sort of a data warehouse. You're collecting all this information, but from here on, really, when you got incoming data, what you want to be able to do is perform your data quality routines and clean all of that data up, merge them into that single golden record, and then append all of those enrichment information that you can, such as demographics, the firmographics, etc. So this is what you want to be able to achieve and attain with your database. And just to kind of put it out there, Melissa Data actually offers all sorts of solutions and engines in order to be able to achieve all of this. And right here you can see one of our solutions that allows you to automate all of this process. So you got your input information and you're doing all of the cleansing and validation and data quality routines and putting out all of that information out to your data warehouse as a destination. If we take a look at an example of that, once we've implemented a solution for data quality, take for example this data up here. I mean, you've got 3 records. Really what you want to be able to do with this is to be able to have it look like something like this, where we've merged the information. So John Smith's record is merged into one. His phone number, his email has been consolidated and merged. We've got the phone number is now formatted accordingly. We've corrected the address information. We've appended the email for Jane Doe, who previously didn't have an email. We've moved Jane Doe to a different address from 123 Main Street to 250 Western Avenue, and then we've also appended the demographics. So there's so much you can do with data. You want to be able to implement all of these in your contact data. Now, if you want to, just to kind of summarize again, the benefits of having quality data. Now, originally, I talked about being able to gather information and making use of that information, but if we are able to apply quality data or data quality, not only can we generate relationships with our customers, but we actually have better relationships with them now if we have quality data. And this is because of better customer service, prevent multiple calls or emails being sent out. So really having quality data allows us to have better relationships with our clients. And not only that, quality data allows for even more accurate analysis of our data. So we're gathering all of this information and we know that they're correct. We can generate better and more accurate business intelligence out of that and understand our clients' needs even more. And then our strategies for the future will be accurate. All of our statistics will be accurate and correct, and we can plan even better for the future. And then our marketing is going to be even more effective because of the demographics. You can do demographic-driven marketing or location-targeted marketing for more efficient campaigns. And last but certainly not the least, improved resource management. Overall, we want you to be able to get return on investment in your data. And our philosophy is that data should not cost you more than it should save you. And in fact, it should make you money. So you're collecting that data, apply data quality to it, and get your return on investment out of it, out of having good quality data. And I'd like to end this presentation with a quote from Peter Benson, who is the Executive Director of ECMA, and he says that quality data is not a luxury. It is an operational, regulatory, and statutory requirement. And I think this is a very powerful message. And this says that as long as you have data, you need to be able to perform data quality on it. It's not a luxury. It's something that everyone must be doing. Otherwise, the data that you have is as good as garbage. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for listening through my webinar. Again, my name is Joseph Vertido, Data Quality Analyst at Melissa Data. You can contact me at the email on the screen. And again, thank you very much. Thorin?
Joseph, thank you very much. On behalf of Target Marketing and Melissa Data, I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar. Be sure to check out our webinar page to get more information on all of our archives and upcoming events. I hope to see you at the next Target Marketing webinar. Have a great day.